You know, a lot of people go into business for themselves because they want that financial freedom. They can make a lot more money owning a business than working a job somewhere else. And yet, look at all these businesses out here. Most of these are about to make, in their lifetime, the cardinal #1 sin mistake, which is they're not positioning themselves to be sold someday for the biggest profits available. Today, I'm gonna help you understand how to avoid that and how to really cash in.
One shot, now the future is yours. Go! I'm turning dreams into reality. Yeah, it's one shot, now the future is yours. Go!
Right now, we are witnessing the largest wealth transfer in the history of all time. You've got all these baby boomers, they've owned these businesses, and do you know that the majority of them will never be sold? And that's because these businesses have only been run from this notion of provide value, make money in exchange, and then someday we'll just close shop if the next generation doesn't want it. And that is massively problematic because there's all of this wealth that's available and it's literally just gonna go to ashes on the side. It doesn't have to be that way. It shouldn't be that way. The exit of your company financially should be one of the most exciting hallmark moments of your life. Today I'm gonna show you a cheat on a particular approach to business that will help you have the biggest cash out after making a lot of money. Check it out. Well, listen, today we are going to talk about first why you should never start a business without exit strategy in mind, because building the value of your company as you're making money with it along the way can lead to one of the coolest exit moments of your life. When you hear business exit, you should be thinking, oh, sell the business and make millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars, maybe even a whole lot more than that. You know, in the game of business, it's a great debate. What should I focus on? What's important? And so here's the list of what a lot of people will work on. They're gonna focus on leadership and financing, employee culture, or they're gonna focus on their product or their services, maybe their goals or quotas, maybe the location of their stores or maximizing margin, or how do we do crisis management? All of these things are really important. But the last thing on this list is the first that's usually never there. It's the most forgotten. It's, wait a second, you say we're supposed to start with the end in mind, the exit? Preparing for a successful exit usually requires 24 months just so you can present yourself well to the marketplace so you can actually get the value of what you're worth. It's the thing that you need to start with.
Let's get it started in here.
You know, the first 10 years of my business career was not thinking at all about exit. It was literally just doing business to make money as a strategy for building another stream of income. And I remember when I was done with that first business and I got nothing out of it, I was like, you know, I think I always imagined someday I would sell this thing and probably make some money. But then when I made nothing upon my exit or leaving it or no longer doing it, it was a painful lesson because part of me felt like, wait a second, I had made this money along the way, and by the way, really good money, but I got nothing when I sold it, and that's because I wasn't thinking the right way. It's because I hadn't been properly taught or mentored. Today, I'm here to make sure that you don't make that mistake, and at the end of this video, I'm gonna share with you more of a turnkey business where a natural exit is already built in. All you gotta do is show up, have someone run the store, if you will, the right way, and you could set yourself up for the kind of exit that I wish I had had on my first run. Now, we've been talking about the fact that you may not have been aware that when you do business, you should be thinking about an exit. So there may have been a lack of awareness. But there are 3 other main reasons why people don't really mess around with the idea of exits. They procrastinate, they put it off, and then when the time comes to take advantage of it, they can't. I want to share these 3 with you right now so that you understand why is it being ignored, and then I'm going to share the solution. And here's the first one. Selling a business, it appears difficult, right? I mean, selling a business can be emotional and it can be overwhelming for an owner who has put years into the business. And because trusted buyers are hard to find, many owners settle for less than their business is worth. Most won't even sell it at all. They'll literally just let go of it, and all of a sudden, it's as if all of their hard work never existed in the first place. This is a huge mistake because guess what? It's actually not true. Okay, Kris, well, I'm in the business of running my business, so when it comes time to sell, how am I gonna know how to find buyers? And this is number 2. It's impossible to find buyers. I don't have a business for doing that. Check it out. Without a business broker, it may seem impossible and too complicated to know how to sell a business. A business broker's job is to help you list and sell your business. Did you actually know that just like realtors are used for connecting buyers and sellers on property, that the same exact thing exists in the business community? Most people don't know that. Most people don't think about it. And it's something that you should know, because 2 or 3 years prior to selling, you should start finding the business broker. You should start getting consultations. You should figure out how they want the accounting to look. Basically, you should make your business look as good as you can on paper in advance, so that when it comes time to sell it, someone looking to buy it comes along and they're like, wow, it's as if everything was set up for me to step right in and take over. You've eliminated all the hard questions. Your accounting's done the right way. You've prepared yourself for this moment, and I'm going to pay you handsomely for it.
You're so handsome when you smile.
And the third reason why people don't even bother selling is they think, anyone could compete against us. They could duplicate our business model. We're just not special enough. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, you only deserve to be in business if you're committed to being the best. You can define that as having a superior product, being the fastest, or being the cheapest. Be one of those three, and then let that be your definition of being the best. And yet you still have to do something to protect yourself from competitors. And that is no different than in archaic times, medieval times. You had a castle, and guess what protected the castle? The water, literally a moat, as in there's a drawbridge that goes over the water. Like, who wants to go through the water to scale the castle? In business, they use the same terminology. You need a moat. If you don't have something proprietary in your business to protect it from competitors copying your business, you may not have as much resale value as you had hoped for. Add moats in your business to protect it so that you can sell it for top dollar. So I want you to think for just a moment what this actually means. A moat can be software that you use that no one else has access to. It could be intellectual property, something that you trademark. It could be something that you invented that you have a patent on. Essentially, you have something unique to your business that's very difficult for other people to have, or that they're not allowed to have. And that moat creates protection, which guards the value. So even if you currently have a business that anyone else could copy, you should start exploring, what is my moat? Little side note, in my business, my moat is complexity. It's very hard for people to copy my model. And when they try, they usually fail. So that complexity is actually a way that we protect our intellectual property. Okay, Kris, I get it. So you're saying that I need a business that I intend to sell someday, but it sounds like a lot of work. Like, what's the shortcut that you were talking about earlier? Well, it's this. What is the best model for setting you up for really strong resale? Well, instead of going through the trouble of starting a business from scratch, running it by yourself, and struggling to sell it to a qualified buyer, there's already a system in place that has a much cleaner exit strategy. And you know what it's called? It's called franchising. In other words, someone invented the business, they made it successful, they built moats around it so it's protected, and then they're selling license agreements or franchises for you to take a version of it in a territory that no one has before. You can build that business up. And you know what? Buyer's gonna come along looking to buy the entire franchise or just your franchise. And statistically, if you own a franchise, you're 91% more likely to succeed than starting a business from scratch, because someone else already invented the wheel. Someone else already figured out something unique, special, a product, a service, how to do it, how to build it, and then how to exit it. So if you're looking to own a business that you can sell someday and make a lot of money on, you may want to start by considering a franchise. You know, I love studying the lives of successful business owners, and Henry Ford completely fascinates me. He figured out how to take the Model T and mass produce it for everybody. And you know, it's not like he knew how to build a car in the first place. He surrounded himself with top engineers. He figured out the whole conveyor belt model. He figured out literally how to bring the automobile industry to life. What I love so much about the franchise game is that several people come together that are super smart, like usually super experienced in the game of business, and they figure out the most successful version of how to take that business and create massive success with it. And then once they hacked it and figured it out, they open up the doors and say, who wants to help us now take this proven model and get a piece of the action? And not just a small piece of the action. You see, this is about building what's called franchise equity. The beauty of a franchise lies not just in the ease of startup, but also in the simplicity of exiting. As a franchise owner, you have an opportunity to build equity through the performance of the business, and you can profit from the sale of the business when the time is right. Franchises are recognized brands and are much easier to sell than a made-from-scratch business. And so the whole franchise game, it's almost as if it's built not just for maximum profit along the way, but it's also built for maximum exit. You know, I'm such a fan of franchises that I now own a lot of them, and have to tell you, they're a great way to duplicate more and more and more income and profit. A lot of us settle in life for this whole idea of, I should only make as much money as a person can in a career. So my career pays me, $60,000 to $100,000 a year, so that's really the amount of money that I want. But I'm like, what if you found a franchise that made you $60,000 to $100,000 a year? Well, if one made sense, then why not 5? Like, why not have $500,000 a year? For me, once I got my income initially up to $500,000 a year, I found that I could pretty much support just about any lifestyle within reason that I really wanted. I could live in a multi-million-dollar house. I could travel around the world. I could travel the way that I wanted. But you know what? I grew from $500,000 to $1 million and millions of dollars, because when you find something that works, then what you want to do is copy and do it over and over again. That's what franchise is. That's like how franchises work. You find a franchise that works, and then you have multiple of them. You don't want to reinvent the wheel. And then yes, you want to build multiple streams of income, but that can happen from a lot of different franchises. And then of course, I want you to think of the exit on selling multiple franchises. Well, if you want to know some of the franchises that I'm personally involved with, that I have ownership in, and you want to get a piece of that action, do your own research on it, there's a link below. You can learn from my business partner, Dan Olson, who's represented over 100 franchises. He literally helped a couple of them get to $1 billion plus valuation, and he is playing with some of the hottest franchises around today. You usually need $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 to get in on a franchise, but after that, you can finance the rest, you can get the business started, you can work with a proven model. So if you're interested in what it would look like to make that kind of money and even potentially be absentee owner status, like you don't have to be in it working it, click the link below. I'm going to share some of my favorite franchises with you. Man, it sounds so cheesy to live Warren Buffett's advice of make money while you sleep, but the dude has it right. And that's something that I really love about the right business, is that my rule is that I want to be an owner, not an operator. So it has to be able to work on its own so that I can live my life. I can create memories. I can take vacations. By the way, if you want to know how to make money while on vacation, let me show you how I do it in this video right here. When it comes time to sell the business, they don't have an exit plan. They're really just here to make money. And the and you should yeah. Yes. You got it? Yep, I got it. All right.